Hello, Internet, and welcome to episode 208 of Verbal Graffiti with your host, Brian Glass, a.k.a. the B-Man, the People's Degenerate. There I was, last night, outside, in the snow, below the snow, one with the snow, within the snow. There was a lot of it. If you're in the Northeast, I'm talking about Sunday night of the NFL championship weekend. I was not inside watching the LA Rams lose to the Seattle Seahawks. I had no, I don't gamble, so I had no voting, or I had no rooting interest in the game. I wanted to watch it, because there's only 3 games left. But no, I was outside being a man. We have a snow plow, so I was plowing the snow. We have a snow plow. It's 24 inches wide. We had a storm, and this is prevalent. I need to get this information so you know why I behaved the way I did last night. But before we get to last night, we have to talk about a month prior. So this is probably mid-December. We had a snow fall, not a snowstorm. I'd say 5 to 6 inches. Some people say Mr. Perfect, my penis, 5 to 6 inches. I'm not here to confirm nor deny that. Anyway, so we have 5, 6 inches. I get the plow out of the shed. The motor is working. The first big snow accumulation of the year. But the turning part of the plow, it's not turning. And I don't know if you noticed, when the turning part of your the push snow plow doesn't turn, it's useless. Now, I'm not a man. I am a man in the sense that I go outside when it's snowing and I shovel and I plow. That's a man's job. I'm a man. I do that. But I'm not a man in the sense of I don't know the name of all the parts of the mechanics. When you refer to the snow plow, the turning part that is the whole machine, the whole thing that needs to work as the turning part, and you go to the wheels on the bus go round and round, the roundy thing, you're not a man if you don't know the name of that part, and I don't know the name of that part. You know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about, but I don't know the correct term. Anyway, so a month ago, the turning part was not working, so I had to shovel 5, 6 inches of snow. Our driveway, which we just got repaved, I think 2 summers ago, that my mother paid for. She paid to get it repaved, not me. But, there was a lot. And I have weak arms. I have noodly arms. So 5 inches of snow, a 2-car driveway, that's a lot for the B-man. And so afterwards, my mom got the snow plow refurbished. We found a man, who knows the name of all the parts, and he fixed it. Somehow, mice had gotten into the snowplow and he'd eaten. It just made a mess of the inside. So he fixed all the coils and all the machinery and the parts. So now the plow works. So I'm not fretting the snow that came this past weekend when I was outside last night, because the plow was refurbished. So the turning part was working, which you need to take the snow off the driveway, off the sidewalk. So there I was last night. I'm out in the snow, frigid temperatures. Why, B-man, what are you wearing? Well, I'm wearing my father, who died May 31st, 2014. He had a blue LL Bean. What's that called? LL Bean? He has a winter jacket. And I was wearing his jacket. And again, you should know my dad, tall guy, 6'5". I am barely 6 feet, probably 5'11" with my slouching now. So when I wear my father's jacket, I look like a son wearing his father's jacket, like an 8-year-old wearing his father's jacket. But it makes for the perfect snow plow, snow removal jacket, because it's big on me. So underneath my father's blue LL Bean jacket, I was wearing a hoodie, and below that, I was wearing a running dry fit winter shirt, and under that, I was wearing a t-shirt. So I was 4 layers on the top. And then I had joggers, I had 2 pairs of socks, steel toe boots. I had mittens on, not gloves, mittens, and I'm out there. And the plow is working, and my neighbor, her son died, her husband died long ago. So I'm like, you know what? My plow's working. She's an old lady. I'll plow her driveway too. So I take the plow. And I go, down the sidewalk to her driveway, do her whole driveway, her walkway, because I am a good man. Am I spectacular? All right, enough of me giving myself a tip on my penis. I just did it, right? And then my other neighbor, who works for an energy company, I believe he was working 24 hours. So I'm like, well, if he's at work and his wife's inside, the B-man will do his sidewalk. I didn't do his driveway, but I did his sidewalk. So I'm plowing half of our street. It's like the sidewalk of it. Like I am remember that show? What was Jackass? Remember that show Jackass? Where there was one episode or one sketch they did where one of the guys dressed up as the Tooth Fairy, but he called himself the meter lady or the meter man, and he went to public parking spots and he paid for everyone's parking spot, and they arrested him because I guess that's illegal to pay for other people's parking. Don't know why, but that's who I was last night. I was the snow plow fairy. Because I was out there, 8 p.m. Instead of watching football, I was being a man, doing manual labor, just plowing everybody's drive. If you were within 3 houses on our side of the street, I was plowing your sidewalk. And I'm like, you know what? This is going to be fun. And I'm expecting thank yous from everybody on our street. Those 3 neighbors on each side, those 1, 2, 3, 4 houses that I did your sidewalk for you. Next time you see me outside, whether I'm doing road running or walking dogs, I expect a thank you. All right. I'm going to, it's one of those things where when I see them, I'm going to look at them and I'm going to walk a little slower and I'm going to wait, anticipate a thank you. And if I don't get a thank you or, hey, you didn't have to do that. You didn't, my husband would have came out or I would have went out there. We have a son. He would, if you don't give me any acknowledgement, right, that I plowed your sidewalk during the blizzard, we got about 2 feet here. So that's a blizzard. I'm judging you for that. Till my last day. I'm going to think less of you. I'm going to hold a grudge against you. And I say you, I mean my neighbors. Okay? See, I do it not out of the goodness of my heart. When I say do it, I mean like plow your sidewalk. I do it because I want to thank you. I want the acknowledgement. I want my neighbors, to whomever they live with, to go, you know what? That guy who lives with his mom, he's a good guy. He's all right. I do it for the acknowledgement. I don't do it out of the goodness of my heart. And it's still 2 feet of snow out there, still snowing a little bit. So I am yet to get the acknowledgement. And if I don't get it, I'm coming back here and I'm talking shit about them. But the neighbors are good. Okay, so I'm plowing. But this is, it's a metaphor for life. You do your deck, you do your driveway, you do your sidewalk, and then you do your neighbor's sidewalks because you want to be the good neighbor to get acknowledged. And I do it. And it's kind of easy because the plow, the snow was a bit fluffy, so I was just pushing when the snow kind of built up, but I got through it all. And as I'm about to put the plow back into our shed, I hear a noise down the street. And if you live somewhere where there's snow, you know that sound. When the town's snow plow turns the corner, you hear it. There's a rumble, and you hear like the plow on the ground coming at you like 30 miles an hour. You hear it. It's almost like a train. You know what? Get out of the road, get off the sidewalk, because that snow, like the plow's coming, and it's going to push the snow up onto the curb. But there was so much snow, about 2 feet of snow, that the snow went all the way on the sidewalk. All the way that I just did. I did 4 sidewalks in a row. Took me maybe a half hour to do them all, and then this snowplow came by, took the snow from the road onto our sidewalks. And this snow was wet. It's on the roads, so, and it's compiled up and pushed up. So it's ice, it's slushy, it's dirty. Most specifically, it's heavier than the crestfallen snow. The snow that is not touched, it's beautiful. There's almost, it's easy to move. But the plow snow, from the big boy town plow, that was over my knee. It just hit me. It's been a half hour plowing, doing 4 sidewalks, being a neighborly neighbor. And then this plow came and just erased the entire work that I did. Right? It took the snow. Right? I removed the snow, but then the plow took snow from the road and put it on the sidewalk, and there was more snow than there was to begin with, completely erasing the work that I did. And now I realize that some of my neighbors might not even know that I plowed their sidewalk. So now I don't even know if I don't get an acknowledgement, if they're just not recognizing the work I did, or if they didn't even know I did the work, because I can't blame them now for not knowing that I plowed their sidewalk for them when they wake up in the morning and their sidewalk is filled with snow because I was out there late, 8 to 10 p.m. That's life. That is life. Sometimes you do the work. You try to be the good Samaritan. You try to do a good deed for others. And then a force comes and it completely erases all the work you did, making the work you did useless, a waste of your time. That's life. That's life. What do you do about it? You know what I did about it? I did not plow their sidewalks after that because that was a heavy, wet road snow. Like I'm a good neighbor, but the B-man ain't. I ain't a super neighbor. I ain't doing your sidewalk twice. I do it once. Fucking plow. Erased all my work. Very similar. So something, all right, you put something on the internet or you type something and it disappears. Can I put a note on their doors, like my neighbor's doors, to go, hey, I know you woke up to snow on your sidewalk, but I want you to know that before the street plow came and put all the snow there, I had removed the snow that was there originally. Like, what would my neighbors think about me if I did that? To leave a note saying, hey, look, I know there's snow you got to remove, but I did remove snow, and I would still like a thank you, or at the very least an acknowledgement that you tried to be a good neighbor. Man, snowstorms. All right, moving forward. And this next one comes from the subreddit, Bumble Girls. Should I pay for Premium Plus? ? I just joined a Bumble, a male, 40. I'd rate myself a 6 out of 7. We'll get to that. No meme intended. No, we get it. I have 22 people as of now who have liked my profile or me picture in 24 hours. But of course, you're not allowed to see them without paying. Are these people real or are they Bumble bots? Is Bumble fishing for me to pay to see these profiles? Women who have swiped right? I have never paid for an app or anything like this ever. Everything is fake or hard to just trust these days. What do y'all think? ? Experience preferred. Thanks. Well, the B-Man's got experience for you. I've been on Bumble over a decade. Over and how many? I just checked before I read this post. I have 4 likes in a decade's worth of Bumble. I don't pay for anything. So for 10 years on Bumble, I'm estimating I have 4 likes. You've been on 24 hours, you got 20 likes. So I was going to criticize you when you called yourself a 6 or a 7, no meme intended. But I actually kind of think you probably are accurate to describe yourself, or to rate yourself, that is, as a 6 or a 7 in the looks category. Because 20 likes is quite a bit within 24 hours, especially as a guy. So I was gonna like slap my dick all over your rating system, but no, you probably are a 6 or a 7. My instincts are to say, do not pay for the premium, and I'll tell you why. Let me preface this by saying, I don't want to tell you what to do. There's too much of that on the internet, too much of that in real life, of people, strangers telling you what to do and what not to do. Don't pay for that PC. Don't pay for a premium. Don't pay for a luxury car. Don't do community service. Do this, do that. Have kids. Childless. If you don't have a child, you shouldn't be allowed to vote. There are all these rules that people are making up. If you don't live by a certain person's expectations, they judge you. They tell you how to live or how not to live. But again, that's kind of what verbal graffiti is we tell you how to live. So I rescind that. Yes, do not pay for the premium. In the last 2 minutes of whatever I just said, erase it. Like the snow. Erase it. Do not pay for the premium. And I'm going to tell you why. The B-Man, I have a friend. He goes by the name Dan Shea. I believe that is his correct name or given name. I don't think that's his alias. And I'll say his name because he's a comedian. He's a good-looking guy. He's handsome. He's 6'2", 6'3". He's got long hair. He's in his early 30s. He was in the Navy, but I wouldn't describe him as a Navy guy. Some people, they're in the service and they get out, and that's kind of their personality. They lead with that. Oh, I was in the service. He doesn't strike me, Dan, that is, as that type of guy. I don't know him. I'm friendly with him, but I'm not super close. But yeah, he was in the Navy. So, he's got a pretty good build. He's a white guy. He's got a great personality. He likes to drink. He's a fun guy. And he fucks, because he's a good looking guy. He's tall, early 30s, ex-Navy man. I think it was Navy. One of the branches of the military. And he does stand up, and he's a fun hang. This is just a long way of me saying, Dan Shea fucks. He has in the past, and he does currently. And he, anyway, so he had told me recently, or maybe this was last year, that he was on some of the dating apps, and he paid for the premium, like you're thinking about doing now, and he recoiled. He was telling me because that's what premium does. Like you said, you pay for the Bumble or whatever app, you pay for the premium, and then it unblurs the blurred matches so you can see who actually matches with you. Don't do it. Because those people who match with you they're not 6 or 7s. All right? They're not attractives. They're the cheese doodles. They should really, those blurred photos of the people who match with you, there should be a not suitable for work before they show you those photos. Because in general, as my friend Dan Shea said, the people who match with you that are blurred out, that you can't see, if you pay for the premium, you don't want to see that. You don't want to see that. And Dan Shea's joke about it is it really fucks with your ego. Because you got all the, wow, 24 hours. I got 20 matches. I'm a stud. I'm a chat. I'm going to fuck. But if you actually pay for the premium, that's not the attention you want. You're getting the unfuckables. You're getting the cheese doodles. You're getting all the babes who can't get any guy. And that's not the pool you want to be in. If you're a 6 or a 7, that is, and I assume you are, or at least that's what you rate yourself. So don't pay for the premium, because what you're gonna see, you can't unsee, and it's gonna fuck with your ego. So, as my friend Dan Shea said, it ain't worth the money, right? So you don't want to do that. Listen, the first week on any dating app is the best. All right, as a longtime consumer of these dating apps, so when you sign up, they give you all the attractives the first few days because you're new. All right, so they want to keep you on the app. So what they do is they feed you all the attractives in your whatever distance area you live in. And then after the first week, they eliminate all the pretty people. I don't know where all the pretty women go, but the apps, they won't let you see them. And then they'll just they'll give you a pretty person, like 1 out of every 20 swipes you do. Whereas that first week, it's like every other one. It's like, wow, this is where all the hot babes are. It's like, no, they're not. No, they're not. The app is trying to get their tentacles into you and have you pay for the premium and have you believe that this is the app where all the hot babes are actually at. Very similar to a nightclub. In that sense, in that regard. It's like, wow, look at all these hot babes. Pay for a bottle, $200, Grey Goose. Come, we'll get a little table. And they show like 4 hot people, and then you actually go in the club after you paid for the table. I've never paid for a table. I am cheap. Right? I drink before. I don't really, actually, to be honest, I don't go to clubs anymore, but when I did, I would get very close to blackout before getting into the club or nightclub, so that I could just nurse 1 beer the entire night. But guys pay for the table, thinking there's a lot of hot babes. But most clubs, unless you're in Las Vegas or LA, it's just a bunch of chubbies. So don't pay for the bottle service or the table, because you might get a little bit more attention, but you're not going to get the attention you're craving. The 8s or the 9s. You're not getting that. So same with the premium. I think the best place to find babes online is LinkedIn. We've talked about this. Get rid of Bumble's the worst. That's like the females have to message you first, I think. I don't really use it that much. That's because, again, I have 4 likes in 10 years. There is a point in time where you realize the time on the apps is not, you're wasting your time. So I use kinky sites instead of the mainstream ones. But honestly, LinkedIn, those babes have jobs. They actually show photos of themselves without filters. And you can tell by the job they have how much they make, and you can see their biography and not the one they actually want you to think they have. Well, all right, you get it, but all right. Yep. But hey, where you been doing your entire life? What have you been doing? 40 years old? You've never been on Bumble or any of these dating apps? Have you just been that lucky, or are you that good with the babes? Or did you wake up 40 and someone said, hey, well, you haven't been with a babe since you were 15. Like what? Did someone say, hey, there's these things called apps, or you go out into the world, and is this something you didn't know about? I would love it if that were the case, or if that is the case. Yeah, man, there's just these apps where a bunch of floozies are on them, but they only match with you if you're a 9 or a 10, and you'll figure that out as a 6 or 7. In real life, 6, 7, not bad. Not bad. You can pull some sniz in real life, 6, 8, 7, if that's what you are. But an online world, a 6 and a 7, as a guy, you get no sniz. I'd say I hate to break it to you, but again, you're 40, and now you're just getting on the apps. Where the fuck you been? Where the fuck have you been? Let's go look at some photos or a video or something. No movie this weekend. No movie. Making another movie, but or the narration. No, it's not ready yet. Let's go look at something. That was the worst segment in verbal graffiti history. 208 episodes. The first segment of this episode, 208, the worst I've ever done. Now, I could tell you I'm going to be better. I'm not. Yeah, we're 208 episodes in. I am who I am at this point. I'm not improving. I'm not gaining confidence. I'm not finding my voice. This is my voice. This is my personality. I honestly thought, well, I really have nothing to talk about, but I did shovel the driveway, plow the driveway last night. I'll talk about that. I'll try to make it a metaphor, a life lesson, try to make it memorable, engaging, paint a picture, have it be entertaining. It was none of that. It was slush. To use a metaphor for what I was doing, it was slush. Nobody likes slush. Hey, I can't even pronounce slush properly because of the SHs. See, that's what that opening segment was. I could tell you to forget it. You won't. You'll remember it for how unmemorable and engaging it was. Now I could erase it. Come up with a new opening first segment, and then put out the episode after redoing it. I'm not, because I'm lazy. I'm gonna put it out there into the world on the internet for all 12 of you to see. I'm angry with myself. All right, and I could tell you I'm going to be better. That'd be a lie, because I can't be better than this. That segment is evidence of who I am. It's not good enough. It's not engaging enough. It's not funny enough. Who wants to listen to a nobody, not even a has-been, a nobody, talk about shoveling a driveway? Pitiful. And then I did a segment, and then I transitioned from that, talking about some 40-year-old asking whether or not he should use Bumble Premium. Like, bro, you're 40. You're on Bumble, and you're thinking about using premium, paying for that? That's loser behavior. Like the lady, the regular at the dive bar with the one-legged lady at your dive bar, she's not even going to look your way. You pay for premium, and you think you're going to get my sniz? Give up. You're never going to find love. You're 40 years old, going on Reddit, asking whether or not you should pay $20 for the premium. If you're worried about a $20 subscription when you're 40 years old, everything you've done in your life, you've done wrong. Hand up. I'm 40 years old. I waver back and forth when there's like $20 I have to pay for it. And I've done everything wrong. Look at that first segment. You're a loser. You're never going to find love. I'm talking about the 40-year-old, not you. You? I don't know why you're still here. If you watched that first segment, you're a real one. Honestly, go do something else. You're wasting your time watching me. Huh? I'm just being real with you. That segment, that's worse than anything I've ever put out. 208 episodes in, this is who I am. I could try to be better. I could tell you I'm going to be better. It's a lie. I'm not. This is the B-man. I'm not engaging enough. I'm not funny. I'm not talented. My life isn't as, it's not as, I don't do enough with my life to talk about it on the internet. My life's pretty boring. I work during the day. I do this at night. This or stand up. Pitiful. I got the ick. You know, I right now I have the ick when you have a bad set, a stand-up set. You do stand up and you get off stage and they're, oh, good job. And they're trying, like, dude, stop lying. I know that was a bad set. I got that ick. And nobody's looking at you because no one wants to associate with the person, a comic who had a bad set. Nothing worse, nothing more embarrassing, nothing more awkward. No, there's no greater repellent than a comic who just had a bad stand-up set. You just got that ick on you, and I got that ick on me right now, and I can't get it off of me. Like a stand-up, the only way you get that ick off of you is to get back on stage and get the chuckles, have a positive set. But with this, like, all I can do is move forward. Let's move forward. All right, enough about that opening segment. I could apologize for it, but again, like, I can't apologize for being me, for being an untalented hack. So I'm not going to apologize. Cheerleaders. Now, specifically NFL cheerleaders. I had mentioned last week was the championship weekends. I'm not referring to competitive cheerleaders, college cheerleaders. This is just NFL cheerleaders. I didn't recognize any of the cheerleaders, but I have in cold weather. Now, we know the NFL cheerleaders, much more talented than myself. They have complained about the lack of money they make being cheerleaders on the sidelines during NFL games. I personally think they should not make as much money as the NFL players make that are on the field, but that's not what I'm getting at here. And be angry with me because of my stance, but that's my stance. Go suck a fat one. If you're going to be an NFL cheerleader and you're going to complain about the money you make or the lack of money you make for being a cheerleader, I don't want you to see you wearing long sleeve jackets and pants during a cold weather game. You're an NFL cheerleader. Wear your skirt, wear your nice little top with your sleeves being shown no matter the weather. Right? You're a professional. You're an NFL cheerleader complaining about the lack of money you make. Well, you want to make the big bucks? Wear your skirt. Wear your sleeveless top during a snow game. All right? You're there for the audience. A cheerleader in September when it's 85 degrees does nothing for me. Cheerleaders in general, that's not one of my kinks. That's not one of my, if I'm doing role playing, cheerleaders is like, I've watched Debbie Does Dallas. I've winked to it in the 90s. Probably haven't since. But cheerleader, that's just not a genre that I hawk my dick loogie to. The cheerleader, it's not my thing. But I can appreciate a hot cheerleader. I'm not going to say I've never watched a cheerleader porn scene other than Debbie Does Dallas. I have. I don't seek them out. Sometimes, you know. All right. But I'm saying, like a cheerleader when it's hot out. August, September, maybe early October game, or you're in Miami. Like a cheerleader dressed in a skirt and a tight top does nothing for the B-man. And probably you either, because it's hot out. All the babes are wearing skirts and showing some skin and being floozies out there in the public, out on the street. So when you go to a football game and you see a cheerleader in a skirt, it's like, yeah, but we see them on the concourse too. That does nothing for me. The cheerleader, to earn your money, wear a skirt and a tight top in December when it's snowing out, or January during a playoff game when it's 20 degrees out. Then you'll get attention. You'll get the B-man's attention, the audience, the viewer's attention. Because, wow, like a lady in a skirt and a tight top in January? You don't see that very often. That's why the cheerleaders should be wearing their original outfits in January, in snow, in cold weather games. Don't come at the B-man. Don't be coming at us telling us you're verbal graffiti. You want to make more money. And then during a snow game in January, playoffs, you're wearing a jacket and pants? Get the fuck out of here. Go suck a fat one. Do you want your team to win or not? And we're here. Play to win the game. If you're a cheerleader for your team, maybe they'll win the game if you dress appropriately. If you dress like a cheerleader. Just something to think about, huh? Everyone wants to be a cheerleader in August, in September. What about January when it's 20 degrees and snowing? Huh? Do you want to be a cheerleader then? Because those cheerleaders I see wearing a jacket and pants and boots, hacks. Moving forward. All right, this next one comes from the subreddit Sex Workers. Not cheerleaders. This is about sex workers. Paid for my kids' Christmas gifts with one customer. Good for you. And I mean that. I try not to be a greedy person, but good money is good money. Amen to that. I'm a single mom of 3 and a full-time stripper who recently started offering full-service escort services for more steady income. Today I saw a guy I'd seen a couple times before, about my age, widower, sweet guy. All of us at the club who are escorts split rent on a 2-bedroom apartment that we use to see clients. So we meet there like we'd done the other 2 times. The past 2 times, he's just wanted a BJ, that's a blowjob, oral sex, BJ. But today he asked if we could have sex. I gave him the price, he paid up, I got on my hands and knees and took it. When he got done, he asked if I could snuggle with him for a bit. My mortgage is paid, my kids are getting Christmas gifts, and all I had to do was sleep with someone. This is why getting out of this industry is so hard. Just when you think you're out of the smut game, a widow with deep pockets pulls you back in. Come on. You strippers who moonlight as escorts, how come you're always so vague with me, the B-Man? All of us here at Verbal Graffiti, all of us Johns. How come you never tell us what club you work at, where the apartment complex is, and what your going rates are for the club and for the escorting? It's always very vague. I do this, a guy paid for this, and this was the outcome. But I want the details. What's the address of the apartment complex? What's the name of this strip club? How much you paying for your? How much does your snitch cost? It would be nice if a stripper on Reddit would let us know these details. Going forward, we will get to you and your situation with your loving family and your professional life. But as a John, the way this widower paid you, the way you described it, that's how you pay. That's how you pay an escort. That's how you pay a street hooker. You don't leave when you're getting an escort. You don't leave the money on the bedside table, and you certainly do not hand the money into the crusted hand of the escort. What you do as a John is you take that money and you throw it on the ground. You spread all the bills out, not a stack. You just throw the money on the ground and make the escort get on her hands and knees and pick up all the bills. Scurry all over the carpet in the hotel room or the apartment complex and have to pick up on her hands and knees, picking up all the bills. Because again, she's judging you for being a John. She has a lack of respect for you, but you got to show her a little disrespect as well. All right, if you're gonna pay her $700, $800, whatever the price is, make her get on her hands and knees and scurry around for that money. Like, yeah, I know I'm a John, but you're a hooker, right? You're a floozy. You're an escort. This is so. Hey, I'm gonna make you get on your knees for that. So I applaud a tip of my penis to this John for throwing that money on the ground and not being polite and handing it to you. Because there's a way to conduct yourself as a John. This John, who's a loving widow, did that. Good for him. Now for you. The stripper, the escort, who had a lovely Christmas with her kids. Or I should say your kids had a lovely Christmas because of your hard work. And it is hard work. That's why, although we joke, we mock, we smile, we poke at the strippers, the OnlyFans creators, the hookers, the escorts, whatever terminology you want to use, a sex worker. I'm never going to judge you. Like, I am going to judge you. I'm gonna make fun of you, but I'm not actually like judging you because again, I make $700 a week after taxes, if that, working 40 hours a week, doing something that I don't really love. So who's living life right? What 1 hour with this John, and you were able to pay for an entire Christmas for an entire family. That would take me 3 months of work at like a normal office remote job. So again, seems like you're living life right, and I am not. Again, there aren't many Johns out there who are willing to pay me for. I wouldn't offer that. But again, I'm not a hot babe, so the option is not available to me. Obviously, it's available to you, and you're taking it. So good for you. Your family had a good Christmas. I have a lot of questions about you and the arrangement you have with your other strippers at the club who share this apartment complex. How does the rent go down? Because I ask this question because I assume, however, let's say there's 5 strippers that are using this apartment as a brothel for your escorting service. I assume when you agree to get an apartment, the fuck the Johns in, you agree to pay it equally, 5 ways, whatever, like $200 per person, 5 divided by the rent. I assume that was the original agreement. But again, you're strippers. And what I know about strippers is that strippers can be a bit temperamental and sometimes are illogical with their thoughts. And not to point this out about you, but you are the single mother of 3 kids, and you're a stripper, and you moonlight now as an escort. Maybe your rationality or your thought process, maybe not the best. Maybe not the best. Just make it whatever. So all I'm getting at here is there's got to be arguments, right? Like you agree to split the rent however many ways, but I know, let's say Mercedes. Let's say that's a stripper. She has a good month. She gets with 10 Johns. Uses the apartment 10 times. Let's say there's another stripper who only has 5 Johns. Now, the one who got 5 Johns is going to wait. I know we agreed to split the rent equally, but you used the apartment twice as much as I did. So why are we sharing the utility bill? Like, why are we splitting that 5 ways as well? You used to pay twice as much as I do. Like, I know. When you put that many strippers in one apartment, splitting the bills, there's going to be arguments like that. Like, how do we split the utilities? And there's going to be strife. How does that get settled? I don't have an answer. That's a question I have for you. And then the second question I have is, who cleans the apartment? I've lived with women. You're nasty. You're dirty. You never clean out the shower, the sink. There's soap, there's toothpaste, there's fake eyelashes. You're strippers, so you're probably in the apartment. There's going to be weaves, Q-tips, blood stains in the carpet. It's going to be nasty. It's going to be nasty in an apartment. Who cleans it? Do you get a cleaning service? How often? And again, who pays for the cleaning service? Do you split it? Or do you have to pay for a clean service after every John that comes? Because again, as a John, myself, who's willing to pay extra to not have to use a condom, I like the illusion of when I go into a brothel or an apartment or like a motel room that I was the first one there. Like I don't like seeing condoms on the floor and the stank of sex in the air. I'm your first customer of the night or early morning or mid-afternoon. I like the illusion of that. So, but I don't think you girls, you gals are cleaning an apartment after every John. So the whole cleaning situation, strippers, females, babes, sex, Johns, a very dirty environment. Who cleans? How often? Who pays? That's a question I have. Third question the B-Man has is, what happens if two a two-bedroom apartment, like what happens if there's like more strippers who need the rooms than rooms available? How do you decide who gets the room? Rock, scissors, paper, tug of war, flip a coin. Thursday evening, 11 p.m., midnight, peak hours, 5 horny johns, only 2 rooms. Do you put one in the living room? Like, how do you decide seniority? These are questions I have. I hope you put this in the contract before you sign the lease. And RIP to your neighbors in the apartment. Because it seems great. I know how I would think. If my neighbor was a stripper and using her apartment as the fuck Johns, and every night there was a different stripper coming wearing stilettos, I'm like, wow, I hit the jackpot, baby. I have strippers as my neighbors. Like, I'm going to fuck. This is going to be great. But again, after 2 nights of Johns, moaning, and then the strippers with their fake gasms, you're just going to be a zombie and realize, damn, I got 11 months left without any sleep. I need to get the fuck out of this brothel. Like, everybody loves a brothel. Unless you're the renter who signed a lease not knowing this is a brothel. That guy hates his life for the next year. And then lastly, how do you keep this information, this apartment you have, how do you keep it away from the owner of the strip club? Because I've never owned a strip club. I've never owned anything. But I do know if I was a strip club owner and my strippers were selling their sniz for extra at an apartment they were renting, but they found their johns at my strip club, I would want a piece of the action. And I'm not talking about the sniz. I'm talking about the money. I would want 25% of the money that John is paying for the extras at the apartment. How are you keeping this information away from the strip club owner or manager? Like we know, strippers talk, especially the ones who do lines of cocaine and drink. Like, that information is going to get its way back to the owner and the manager. Like, hey, our strippers, they rented a hotel room or they rented an apartment down the street. They're taking our johns there for extras. Like, how do you keep the lid on that information? It seems this ain't Morse code. Was that World War II Morse code? Oh, whatever. It seems like a lot of questions about this apartment and no answers. Again, another terrible segment. But I'm happy you had a good Christmas, because I think next Christmas, it might be the only fun Christmas your kids have, because this apartment it's not going to work out for the entire year till next year's Christmas, because again, there's just too many variables, too many strippers, too many personalities, too many parties are interested in making money and not wanting to pay the fees for this to last. But I'm happy you and your 3 kids had a Merry Christmas. Go suck a fat one.